What's up, everybody? This is Eric Sperrazza. I'm here in the PGL Nogi Bear Grappling League's podcast studio with the king of Nogi Bear Grappling Leagues himself, the one and only Keith Egan. We're here talking to Big Omar Cruikshank. Omar, are you with us?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? First of all, I got to tell you, I've never been in a podcast studio before today. And I have to tell you, this is one of the coolest places. If you could only see, Omar, if you could only see what I'm looking at right now, we're talking everything from old He-Man figures to UFC autographed weigh-in cards. I mean, this is like, it's like I died and went to like my teenage bedroom. I'm telling you, it is the coolest place to be right now.
Not to mention
That's why I bought lotion in there too.
bottle of lotion. What was that for? And we are.
This is a family broadcast, Omar. You know what I mean?
We're sitting a little close together, but I want to make sure I make sure that I'm fully sleeved.
Omar, I'm here to tell you that directly in front of me as I speak, I am looking at a 16-bit Sega Genesis Mortal Kombat Edition unit in this office right now.
Oh man, living the dream. Just trying to get everything done.
I don't think, listen, I may very well hang up like a Guns N' Roses poster and go to bed right here. This may be where I hang my hat tonight.
Yeah, you gotta have me over sometime, man. So remember the blood colors, ABACABB.
I love left, right, BABA, select start. We'll get some Contra going. I love it.
I need 30 lives. We got 30 lives.
Listen, man, thank you so much for giving us the time to talk to you today. You're the first inaugural podcast conversation here at Nogi Bear Grappling League's podcast studio. So you're it, man. You're launching our podcast off today.
That's I'm honored. I appreciate it.
All right, so I got some quick questions for you. Since the viewers can't see you right now, or listeners, could you describe to us what you look like?
Yeah, well, I'm handsome, Jamaican American male. I'm 6'2". Right now I'm 315, and we're on 300 in a couple weeks.
300. What are you going down for?
Just, well, I think last time I fought I was around 370.
Right.
So yeah, I'll check it out there.
Just to inform everybody what's going on here is that Omar had fought in PGL III in our heavyweight tournament, 2012 heavyweight tournament, and he's looking to make his comeback.
So he beat Steve Thomas in his first fight in PGL and went up against the gigantic Nick Cagia the second time around, and then you're going to make a comeback, what is it, in 2014?
Yeah, whenever you're next one, I'd like to go against a man, it's called Human Cannibal. What's his name?
You're talking about Mark Tarmann.
Yeah, or the Human Boulder, one or the other.
Well, listen, you recently changed camps. Tell me a little bit about that. Where are you at right now?
Well, not exactly changed camps. I'm still with Twisted Misfits, DJJ.
Okay. And who? That's Daniel Gracie over there?
Daniel, I know Daniel's, he's my instructor. But it's two different camps.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Twisted Misfits, that's close to where I live. But Daniel, he's my black belt.
Very, very cool.
He's got a school on American Street in Philadelphia.
Omar, what rank are you at right now?
I'm a brown belt.
A brown belt.
So what got you into this, Omar? Like, what spawned this whole career for you?
Well, I started out taking my two younger cousins to Tiger Schulman's. They had a grappling program. I thought it was pretty cool, so I tried it out. My first day in the class, I got down black belt without even knowing anything.
That's a heck of a way to start, man. You know, I'm always surprised. You know, I grew up for a little while in New York City. I grew up in Queens. And Tiger Schulman's was real aggressive there, and I never thought in a million years. I mean, I remember getting the bootleg UFC videos as a kid, you know, UFC 2, UFC 3 before it was so mainstream, and you know, driving past all the Tiger Schulman's all over the place in New York, I never would have guessed what a power player they'd be today in this industry. You know, you have some big names that are coming out of Tiger Schulman's. I mean, even the last Ultimate Fighter, Uriah Hall was a Tiger Schulman's guy. What are your thoughts on that? You know, going from like that, those early stages of you getting into this business to where you're at now. What do you think about the growth of where we're at?
Yeah, when I got in, it was about 9 years ago. And it was still like I mean, it was getting big. Actually, they were kind of like going through a thing, and it was right around the time
Yeah.
He'll be fighting again. You know, those guys are a bunch of killers. Yeah, it's really blowing up, man. Everybody talking about how they train UFC and things like that, you know. But the real guys don't do.
Now, Omar, I'm going back to the roots of the UFC. Now, you kind of remind me of a fighter in the beginning. His name was Emmanuel Yarborough.
Oh man, that sounds like a compliment at home.
Did you guys ever? He's the world's largest athlete. Did you know that?
Yes, he was.
Did you ever roll with him before? And if you did, like, did you utilize open guard or close guard? Did you use it?
Never roll with a man in yard bar. It'd be his last roll. I'll check him up.
Nice. And you know, you got to respect that moxie, man. You know, I love it when people say to me, "Oh, you know, fighters are all egotistical." And you know what's funny about that is that the more I'm around, you know, real deal fighters, there's a difference between being egotistical and being confident in yourself. You have to be confident in yourself because, you know, if you go in there thinking that you're not the best, then you're 5 steps ahead of the game as it is. You know, but at the end of the day, this community is such a big community, but small in the sense where we're all kind of like, you know, brothers in arms, you know. I love that. I love that moxie that you have, that, you know, you envision that success before it even happens, man. That's clutch. Now, I got a question for you. You know, you watch, you know, nice. Yeah, yeah. Mike Padilla, yeah.
Mike Padilla was just at PGL V. What'd you think about his performance? What'd you think about that, the whole performance there? Now, do you think that you know, down the line he should have a rematch with Daniel Tavares, or?
Yes, I do. And as a matter of fact, I think Pete Shoemaker should have a rematch with him also.
Daniel.
Yeah, I mean he put on a great fight last Saturday, Daniel Tavares.
What was the what do you think that the fight of the night was at PGL V?
The last one, actually, I thought it was Tavares versus Dante Rivera.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, I like Dante's style. He's pretty strong. And got a wrestling base. You know, of course, he's not going to native. I kind of didn't think he was going to be able to handle Tavares' slick submissions and his speed. But he held it, and actually, at that point, I thought he was going to take the weight, go away with it. As far as, you know, when he started slamming him, stuff like that, I was going to, you know, put it on him a little bit.
That fight tore the house down. You know, I was lucky enough. I was blessed to be able to be ring announcing that night. I've actually, you know, taken a step back from the grappling game for a little while because I'm running the New York Marathon for a charity. But, you know, I'm lucky enough that, you know, Keith and the folks over at Nogi Bear allowed me to stay within the promotion and do some real fun things like ring announce. I got to tell you, man, I had front row seats for that fight, and I'm here to tell you that I was more worried about one of those guys coming out of the ring and coming on top of me than the super heavyweights in the catchweight tournament. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, well, not me, because I had Tarmann and North Stack right above me. I was kind of worried about that, though, man. Well, it's PGL, brother.
Let's go back to your last PGL when you fought Nick Cage for the title. What do you think happened there? What went wrong?
No excuses. You know, I had breathing issues, but I've won tournaments with it, and I've lost tournaments with them. It was unexpected. He hung in there tough.
Yeah, I mean that was. I can't even imagine the amount of brute force, the amount of torque that was in that ring between those two guys that night, for sure.
Yeah, we jacked that ring up. I know that. I know that's for sure.
Now, my most serious question here now is, if you and Nick were in a beauty pageant, who would win that outcome?
Well, bro, you know the answer. You know, the conversation was talking to us sometimes. You know,
Listen, man, you know, you and I, before this whole thing started, we were chit-chatting a little bit ago about pro wrestling. And, you know, as much as Dana White wants to separate mixed martial arts and pro wrestling, you know, quite frankly, they've been transcending each other for a long time. You know, Dan Severn was, you know, fighting in UFC. Dan Severn was also on WWF. Brock Lesnar, another bigger name. I mean, you have CM Punk walking out, you know, in his walkouts with a Gracie Academy hoodie on. Let me ask you something. Who was your favorite pro wrestler growing up? Who was the guy that you thought, like, listen, if this MMA thing, if this grappling thing doesn't pan out, I'm going to take my size, I'm going to take it down to a pro wrestling ring, and I'm going to be just like blank? Who would that be?
I used to love the Ultimate Warrior. I used to run out of the ring, jack people up, and run out.
That's old school, man. We're talking about Warrior. That's good stuff. Now, would you cut a promo like him? Would you get all like crazy and spaced out in your head in front of the camera?
Now I don't know if you know this about me or not, but you know, fortunately where I live at, I have a wrestling superstar that lives, you know, a mile down the road in Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Were you a fan of him?
Really? Yeah, we were above my couch with him, yeah.
The Superfly Splash.
Yeah, man, that's my move. I didn't know you knew him. Isn't Bam Bam Bigelow from New Jersey also?
Bam Bam, D'Lo Brown. There's actually one of the bigger wrestling schools in this area is about 20 minutes away in Gloucester City, or at least it was. It was called the Monster Factory. A lot of those guys came right out of there. And it's funny because the irony is that as much as this area has spawned some of the best, you know, pro wrestlers from back in the 80s, it's now really a proving ground for some of the best MMA fighters in the business. I mean, the Northeast, some of the best fighters around are coming from either here or California. There's nothing really in the middle. I mean, Atlantic City was one of the first places to hold some really great pro MMA fights, and it kind of became, you know, minor leagues for UFC, kind of like the farm league. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see yourself going to that next level?
I'm a grappler. I'm 32 now. I'm sticking with that. What I actually am surprised about is that a lot more wrestling submission holds haven't made it into the grappling community. You know, only got like a half off the crab. I've actually used that before when I've grappled a couple other moves. But I'm surprised a lot more of the submission holds haven't made it over to what we do.
Well, that's like you know, much catch wrestling base and things like that. Like we got the brazen martial arts like Gary Davis and Jillian Silver. Jillian just fought at the PGL too.
Yeah, that girl's good.
Yeah, she is.
And I know you know, when we shoot some instructional videos with them on the YouTube channel, that they were pulling out the Boston Crabs and Dragon Sleepers and things like that I didn't even know were possible that you could actually use them in a real life situation.
Yeah, brother, they work. I like that stuff. Yeah, speaking of that, you never came down the world, man.
That's because if I go there, I'm gonna have to put you in a Boston Crab, and I don't want to have to do that.
It's going to get ugly if we have to start dropping bows from the turnbuckles. That's...
So we got PGL VI is going to be coming up and tentatively scheduled for January 11th, 2014. And do you have anybody specifically that you want to call out?
You know what? That's actually funny because I really, for a while, I wanted Carmelo guy.
Carmelo Morera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wanted him, but it kind of he felt one match with Nick and kind of, not saying Nick is an easy fight, but I think he's done an easier fight for Carmelo. I wasn't there, so he kind of called out Nick.
Yeah, well, some guys were saying that you avoided this open weight tournament because you didn't want to get in there and roll with the big guys.
Well, that's fine. People can say that, you know. And there's something like that that'll really hype me up. I also want Tarmann would be a good match. You know, I'm actually surprised that Nick and Norm had so much trouble with some. I was talking to Chief about this. He was saying that he thought Tarmann was the dark horse of the tournament. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna beat.
That's what I was saying. That's what I said it the whole time. I don't know. Just something.
You credit for that, man. But he won't do that to me. That's not gonna happen.
And he comes with a lot of controversy, Tarmann. You know, I mean, his name has been around I first met Mark Tarmann, I want to say about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, and the fact that he kept coming back to AGL and competing in the novice Nogi, and then doing qualifier after qualifier, and never really stepping into the PGL ring, it had a lot of people talking. Maybe people thinking that maybe he was just an AGL fighter. He went in last Saturday, and he proved without a shadow of a doubt that he is a PGL fighter. How do you think that's going to change your strategy now as you go into January as a possible matchup with him?
My strategy won't change. I'll take him down. I won't have the issue negative as far as taking him down.
I'm waiting for somebody to take him down, or I mean,
You might want to take a couple steps back because it's happening.
what
I like Red. I'm not saying it's bad about him, but I won't have the issue of taking him down.
what do you think the guys did that just competed against him? What do you think that where they went wrong at?
They weren't changing levels. I know Norman just come back from an ankle injury, so maybe that had something to do with it. That's not really Nick's game. I've only seen one tournament where Nick was shooting and all. He likes a lot of upper body clinches and things like that. And I don't think he's doing that with Tarmann. He's a wide guy. Maybe I did little center grabbing, and he knows how to use his weight. Those both don't have a problem with.
Yeah. Listen, that reminds me. Let's play a little game called name recognition. All right. In one word, I'm gonna say a name or an event, something of that to you, and I want you to respond to the first thing that comes to your head in one word. Is that cool?
Do it.
All right. Mark Tarmann.
Win.
Don the Predator Fry.
Amazing. First of time.
Olympic wrestling.
Needed.
Dana White. Fair enough. Now, the last one, best one. Are you ready for it? Hanna-Barbera's Jabberjaw cartoon. Go.
All right, I got one for you. I got one for you, but mine's more of a question. So, but you got to answer quickly. All right, ready? George St. Pierre or Johnny Hendricks? Who's cuter? Who's gonna win that? Who you got winning that one next week? What'd you think about the Damian Maia, Jake Shields snore fest?
I mean, it was what it was. Jake Shields, he played the game to win, not to finish. So I mean, he did what he planned to do. I don't know what it is, but I'm a big fan of his and Damian Maia's.
Now, someone had told me that you've been seeking therapy for that submission loss to at the last PGL. Have you been having like nightmares and stuff about that? Recurring nightmares?
I'm sorry. That is not true.
Do you have a problem looking at either Kurt Angle or Captain America now going forward because of Nick Cage?
I enjoy Nick's cigarettes. I always have. It was the first time I met him, which was 9 years ago when he was doing that dance. I was doing it in the house. Only thing I don't like is the body hair in my mouth. That's I can pass on that part.
Listen, speaking of body hair and Jersey wrestlers, Bam Bam Bigelow, Nick Cage, who do you like in that fight?
Nick, gotta go with Nick.
Nice. Respect for the fighter. Now, I got to ask you to do this now because you mentioned Ultimate Warrior. We've been talking about Mark Tarmann. We've been talking about PGL January, possibly January 11th, 2014. In your best Ultimate Warrior promo voice, I want you to cut a promo calling out Mark Tarmann. Go.
I don't know if I can do that. I'll just say, Mark, if you want to experience what
No snarls, nothing. No little Ultimate Warrior closeouts. No, none of that.
If I do that, I might have to stay out tomorrow.
Now we set this matchup. It's the requirement is going to be that you both got to wear Valley Tudo shorts.
Listen, we're not making your dreams come true, Keith, all right?
I think it's only fair that we get you an Iron Man singlet, and we attract both crowds. We get MMA fans, grappling fans, and we'll get some comic book fans in there. What do you think about that?
It'll be the Marvel Civil War.
I love it.
I thought you were saying to say I was wearing a shorts and Cowboy shirt.
Who's your favorite superhero?
There was, you know what? There was this guy named Sunman. Not a lot of people know who he is. My grandmother gave me this couple when I was younger. It was he was an African superhero who got shown by the sunlight, the northern, or whatever it is.
I think I've heard of him. Don't they also go by the name Superman? A guy that goes.
He's strong by the sunlight.
That's good stuff, man. It's funny because this community, you'll find that, people who are into UFC or into pro wrestling or into comic books or into music. I mean, there's this big cross culture here. What kind of music do you listen to when you're training? Like, what's on your playlist when you're training?
Whatever they put on the radio. Apparently I like a lot of songs that I don't like until I hear them.
A lot of Avicii. That's.
Different types of things, man. But, that Run DMC, I like Michael Jackson, I like all types of things, man.
Country western?
I don't like country. I'm not really feeling country western like that.
Now, if somebody offered you the chance to go country line dancing, would you do it?
Hey, Keith, stop trying to pick me up, brother. You gotta take it easy, guys. Stop trying to pick me up on time.
No, but I got a real question for you. Like, what gets you hyped though? I mean, you don't just listen. I've seen you. You're a big guy. You don't just train on the mats. I mean, when you hit the gym, when you're out on a bike, when you're out on a jog, when you're out doing anything that involves getting you bigger, stronger, faster, better. What gets you hyped, man? Like, I can tell. Like, when I'm at the gym, when I'm not training on the mats, I'm at the gym and I'm lifting weights. Like, I need something like hard and heavy. If something even mediocre comes on my iPod, I know that I've messed up and I have to redo my playlist or I can't even go forward. What gets you jazzed up, man, when you're working out?
I'll be honest, man. I get myself. I'm just a high turn. I like to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, the motivation. So it's not music or anything like that. Cause back then, I like beating people. I like not losing. You know what I'm saying?
No, so I think I have an idea then. What I think we're going to do is, just for you, the next time we see you, we're going to give you an MPEG 4 of the color commentary of your Steve Thomas fight, and you can listen to that when you're working out. How does that sound?
All right,
All right.
It's gonna be more of the same. We're gonna reinforce the right.
You got. Do you have any up and comers from your team looking to get in some PGL action or what?
I'm hoping so. He had a guy, one of my training partners, who does fought, Kev. I can't remember his last name right now. I was coaching him. He's from Daniels, and he trains with Kevin Planet.
Kevin Gibbs?
Finishers, yeah. I think there's two Kevins. They're both at 10 Planet Bethlehem finishers. And one trains with the Deals also. But I got a guy named Pat Rogan who I'm hoping to get started. He's going to do some big things. He's only 25. He's 6'3", 240, flexible, strong. And I told him a lot, so.
That's good stuff. So you're going to push him into the next PGL maybe? Get him in like the top of the card?
I'm hoping, man. Hopefully he wants to do it. There's a couple of good big guys now, like, hoping my man Zulu's getting into potential.
Now talk to me about the open weight, because I am 5'6", and any given day I'm between 180 and 188. Let's say I go into the open weight, all right, and you have to go against me for some odd unbeknownst reason. Now let me ask you a question. As a big guy, it has to be a lose-lose situation, because if for some odd reason I catch you, you're going to hear it because a little 5'6" guy took you out. But if you beat me, you're a bully. How do you handle that?
I have a couple buddies of mine, so
The name doesn't sound familiar to me.
All right, well, I'll go against JT Torres in semifinals. You actually got to JT is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he beat me. We were trading football, and then my shoes I had, it slipped out. He came with my guard. I just figured it was my advantage. And they were cheering up for him. I had time with him all and stuff. After that, man, I was like, never again. I would never mind being a little guy again.
All right, Omar. All right, Big O. We're starting to run out of time here. Do you have any final thoughts, words of advice to anybody, or anything on your mind you want to say before we get out of here?
Daniel Gracie, PA, finishers, twisted distance, kept playing it. Enough for him. Let's keep going strong, man. Everybody else, we're coming. And keep stop wearing those country shirts.
All right, brother.
I love it.
All right, well, I'll talk with you soon, all right? All right.
Thanks, Omar.
Yep, no problem. I like Daniel Gracie, too. Bye.
All right, so a few things. We learned a lot about Omar.
Maybe too much.
It's a possibility we might have learned too much. I know that we're not going to get him in that Iron Man singlet anytime soon, which
And-
really bothers me because I wanted to see that Marvel super fight if it was
I
possible.
want him to fight Emmanuel Yarborough, the world's largest athlete. I will not stop. I will not rest until we can make that possible.
Meanwhile, if you could just put in your phone a little note, whatever happens, no matter what I say in my most brazen moment, do not put me in the open weight tournament if he's in it, because clearly he has no problem putting a guy like me through the floor, and I don't want any part of that.
Or through the wall or through the ropes.
Through the ropes. In fact, no Nick Cage either, because there's nothing I can imagine like getting put to the floor by a guy dressed like Kurt Angle. That has to be like the end-all be-all right there.
All right, everybody. So I'm Keith with the Professional Grappling League and Nogi Bear.
I'm Eric.
We got Eric Sperrazza here. Check us out, professionalgrappling.com, amateurgrappling.com, nogibear.com, and anything else?
Listen, we'll see you at the fights. Thank you very much.